The sanctuary door opens with a groan. The air smells of warm myrrh. A man advances wrapped in white linen, his eyes lined in black. The crown shines like a second sun. Everyone bows down. No one breathes. It seems like a privilege to be a pharaoh. But here is the uncomfortable truth: that God lives in a golden cage made of rituals he cannot fail, relatives who can kill him, and an obsession with death that devours his life.
They betray me.
Stay until the end, because you will see why the true punishment of the pharaoh was not to die, but to survive his own power. Welcome to Lost History, where you learn without getting bored with unforgettable scenes. Egypt was not just pyramids. It was a cosmic machine that had to function precisely. The pharaoh did not rule. He upheld the universe. If the Nile did not flood, if the sun seemed less generous, the people looked to the palace. The mistake was not political. It was cosmic. This could change the way you see the kings of Egypt. The crown was not a reward, it was a sentence. Picture this: halls of columns like stone forests, sacred barges, scribes running with tablets. Every decision echoed with the gods. In a moment, you will discover how that pressure turned luxury into an unbearable cost. Dawn. Servants shave every hair from the body. Water with lotus, natron on the skin, oils of myrrh and cinnamon, kohl around the eyes. Aesthetics and medicine against the sun and infections. The regalia is not decoration, it is code. The double crown, Upper and Lower Egypt united on his head. The scepter and the crook crossed. Shepherd and judge. Amulets with the names of gods, each one an insurance against chaos. The pharaoh does not have breakfast, he consecrates himself. He enters barefoot into the sanctuary, only with the priests. It is not theater, it is the maintenance of the cosmos, libations, incense, memorized formulas. If he makes a mistake in a word, the blame lives in his shadow. Then, governance. The vizier reads land disputes. The level of the Nile and the granaries are reviewed. Agreements are made with Nubia, with cities of the Levant. The war drum sounds. Envoys arrive with tribute. A temple, a mine, a canal is authorized. Here is the part that almost no one tells you. The pharaoh had to prove he was still fit. In the Heb-Sed festival, he ran, shot the bow, offered sacrifices to renew his power. If he failed, his legitimacy wavered. Question: what would you do if your throne depended on a ritual you cannot fail? Late. Parades in a chariot down the processional avenue, palms, flowers, shouts of joy. The crowd sees a god advancing. The god inside calculates who is loyal, who is pretending, what rumor will grow tonight in the harem. Night, harp music, date wine, games of Senate, a game that symbolizes the soul's journey through the afterlife. The fire goes out and, even while sleeping, the king does not rest. The priests interpret dreams as divine messages. A bad vision can bring a decree at dawn. The palace is a board. The pieces breathe. The great royal wife has rank, but not a monopoly. There are foreign princesses, secondary wives, concubines. They all know a cold truth. Affection matters less than the heir. In some periods, endogamy played a dynastic role, especially in the Ptolemaic era, already in the Greek era. And in the 18th dynasty, there are close kinships in the line of Tutankhamun. The purity of blood was invoked as divine purity. The cost was visible genetic risks in mummies studied centuries later. The incredible part comes now. The enemy can sleep 2 doors away. Queens compete with banquets, temples, alliances with priests. Princes weave networks among generals and scribes. A rumor in the harem can trigger a secret trial. Cases that break the script. Hatshepsut, a regent who became king. She adopted titles and a false beard, ruled with prosperity and great public works. After her death, part of her memory was adjusted by her successor, for prestige, for politics, for theology. Akhenaten, the one of the Aten Revolution. Closed temples, moved the capital, changed the art. After his death, the elite restored the traditional cult and erased his name from several records. Tutankhamun, the young man who inherited a weary country. His tomb, almost intact, tells us more about Egypt than his brief reign does. The most modern scans suggest physical frailty and close kinship in his parents. Ramses II. Propaganda in stone, colossi, hypostyles, Abu Simbel, peace with the Hittites. Dozens of children, memory carved throughout Egypt.
This is my name.
In a moment, you will discover why the pharaoh, despite so much marble and gold, did not control the most valuable thing, his memory. Before, a question. What do you think was the most dangerous weapon at court? Poison, the dagger, or the chisel that erases names? In Egypt, death was not the end. It was logistics. From day one, the tomb enters the agenda. Old Kingdom, pyramids. Sacred geometry. 2.3 million blocks in the Great Pyramid.
Here, eat.
Stellar
and
alignments
regain
and a
your strength.
worker city that demonstrates organization,
Thank you,
rations,
Overseer.
and specialized work. Not the caricature of whips without rest. Later kingdoms. The visible pyramid is abandoned and the rock is excavated. Valley of the Kings. Labyrinthine tombs. Funerary texts. Painted chambers to guide the king through the duat, the afterlife. Mummification. 70 days of process. Organs in canopic jars. Bandages in layers. Amulets. Golden masks. It is not morbid curiosity. It is applied theology. Body and soul had to recognize each other. Without a body, there is no eternity. Here is the part that almost no one tells you. In the earliest Egypt, during the First Dynasty, there were subsidiary burials around royal tombs in Abydos, people who accompanied the king. The practice did not endure. Over time, it was replaced by symbolic solutions like shabtis, figurines of magical servants. The obsession became more sophisticated. More texts, more amulets, less blood. Even so, the cost was colossal. Quarries, caravans, chapels, funerary priesthoods that consumed resources for centuries. Reward? Paradoxically, many tombs were looted. The perfect eternity rarely went as planned. This might change the way you see immortality. Today, scanners, DNA, and laboratories have unveiled the kings more than any priest. Divine immortality or museum immortality. The final judgment. In the afterlife, the pharaoh's heart is weighed against the feather of Ma'at. If it weighs more, burdened with guilt, a monster devours it. If it balances, it passes. Final irony. The kings who controlled everything upon dying depended on a scale. Was it a privilege to be a pharaoh? Yes and no. Privilege. Gold, perfumes, gardens, art, absolute power, cities carved in their name. Condemnation. Daily liturgies that cannot fail.
Heavy.
Family turned into gunpowder. Priesthoods as a counterpower. A funerary countdown devouring resources and a fragile memory. A chisel was enough to erase you from history. The honest answer is a paradox. Being a pharaoh was the most expensive luxury of antiquity. You paid for it with freedom, with health, with family, with sleep, and sometimes with the memory of your name. Reward for staying until the end. The true key of Egypt is not the pyramids, it is Ma'at, who understands that everything, from the level of the Nile to the whisper of the palace, depended on order and balance. Understand why the kings seemed like gods and lived like hostages. Imagine the pharaoh crowned and tired, standing before a wall of painted stars. He does not think of gold, thinks about balance. His legacy is a mirror. We are fascinated by power, but what we remember is the price. If you like these immersions where you learn without getting bored, give a like and subscribe to Lost History. Every day, a historical journey with unforgettable scenes.